Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how you can use Passport with BTCPay server. BTCPay server is a self-hosted, open-source Bitcoin payment processor. It enables individuals and merchants worldwide to easily accept Bitcoin without the need for any trusted third parties and is completely free from fees. At Foundation, we're proud to say that BTCPay is the tool that we use to allow our customers to purchase Passport with Bitcoin. BTCPay can be hosted on a virtual private server or on your own node at home. For hosting at home, BTCPay is offered as a one-click install on most of the popular node implementations, such as Raspberry Blitz, Umbrel and Citadel. In this video, we're going to cover connecting Passport to your BTCPay instance so that you can receive from your customers directly to cold storage. Then we'll look at how to create a basic storefront. And finally, we'll cover off receiving a transaction from a customer's point of view and then sending a transaction. If you'd like to learn more about the wide-ranging feature set and deployment methods that BTCPay offers, head to docs.btcpayserver.org. Okay, so once you have BTCPay installed via your chosen method and you've created your username and password, you'll be met with a screen that looks a little bit like this. So the first step is for us to create our store. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to call this one a test store. Then I'm going to select the default currency that I would like my customers to see and for me to see the fiat balances of any of my Bitcoin. I'm going to leave that as USD. And then finally, I can choose my preferred price source. As you can see, there's plenty to choose from here, and I'm just going to leave that as the default for this video. Then I can click Create. So the next step is to set up a wallet. And we have two choices here. We can create a new wallet. We have an option to create a hot wallet where the private keys are stored on the server itself, which is generally not recommended. Or we can create a watch-only wallet where the private key is subsequently erased from the server. Or we can connect an existing wallet, which for this tutorial is what we're going to want to do. So we have plenty of options here. The one that we want is scan wallet QR code. As you can see, Passport is mentioned there. Alternatively, if you wanted to pair Passport with the microSD file, you would choose import wallet file there. For this video, I'm going to demonstrate the QR code connection process. So I'm going to choose that option now. I'm going to allow the browser access to my webcam on my laptop. And then on Passport, I'm going to choose the account that I would like to pair with BTCPay server. I'm going to head down to Manage Account. Then I'm going to choose Connect Wallet and then BTCPay. As I said earlier, I'm going to use the QR code pairing flow for this video. And then Passport is going to display a static QR code with the connection information that BTCPay server requires. So I'm just going to hold that in front of my webcam on my laptop now. So as you can see there, BTCPay has passed that QR code and it's displaying the required information. So then I can press Submit. Next up, BTCPay is going to show us the first 10 addresses that are controlled by the account that you've chosen to pair with BTCPay. So if I skip through the next couple of menus on Passport, Passport is going to show us the first address that we need to confirm matches. So as you can see, Passport is showing us an address that ends in 57DV, which as we can see is that one there. So I'm happy that the connection has worked successfully and that BTCPay is showing us the correct addresses that are indeed controlled by Passport. So I'm going to press Confirm. And there we go, that is our test wallet set up with BTCPay. So I know that this account that I've just paired is an empty one, so there are no historical transactions that I need to check for. If however you're pairing an account that does already have some transactional history and maybe a Bitcoin balance on there, what you can do is click on Actions and then choose rescan wallet for missing transactions. And what that will do is allow BTCPay to rescan its blockchain information to check for any transactions and balances at the addresses controlled by the account that you've just paired. What you can also do at any time is verify an address that is being displayed by BTCPay server. All you need to do is click on receive, and then on passport, head to the account that you paired, click on verify address, choose single sig, and then scan the QR code being displayed by BTCPay server. And after a brief search, you'll see a confirmation message on passport with the matching address being displayed on screen. So now that we have our cold storage successfully connected to our BTCPay instance, what we need to do is set up our first point of sale system. So I'm going to show you how to set up a really basic one. So I'm going to head down to new app from the left sidebar. I'm going to leave that set as a point of sale, and I'm just going to call it a test point of sale. Then I'm going to click create. Now here's where we can alter the default settings. BTCPay does pre-populate just with some items there like you would typically see on an online storefront. So what we can do is change the display title to test store. Going to leave the currency as US dollars, and here we can add a description to our store. And there we have our individual products, each with their own picture. Obviously you can customize this any which way you would like. So I'm just going to make this nice and simple and take most of these out and just leave one. As you can see, I can edit each item individually. So I'm just going to call this a test item. It's going to have a fixed price of $5. There I could change the image. I'm just going to leave that for now. And then I'm just going to quickly change the description of the item. Then I can set the inventory for each one, which will subsequently reduce each time one is purchased from your online store. So I'm just going to leave that as 5, but of course you can set that as high or as low as you would like. And then I'm going to choose save changes. There are some more settings that you can customize here. All I'm going to do is turn off custom payments so that we have that fixed price remaining, and then I'm going to click save. So now that we have our simple point of sale saved, I'm just going to click view so I can preview that, and there you go. As you can see, really simple. We've got a single item called test. It's $5 in price, and it's just a really basic web page, but of course you can spend as long as you like making this look as beautiful as you wish. So let's shift our perspective and pretend that we are a customer wanting to pay your BTCPay instance, which, don't forget, is going to land directly into your passport cold storage. So I'm going to navigate to your online storefront, select the item that I want to purchase, and then I can click pay. That's going to produce an invoice page, which is going to display an address belonging to our passport. Again, don't forget you can verify that with passport if you would like, or we can come across to the copy screen and we can copy the address, which could be useful if the customer is paying from a desktop wallet. So at the top here we have the currency, which is in Bitcoin of course, the amount of the invoice, which is at the current rate is 26,794 sats. And then the user has the option, if they were accessing this from their phone, to open in a specific wallet that they may already have in store. So I'm just going to go quickly to my Sparrow wallet and pay this invoice so you can see what happens. So I'm going to copy the address, head over to my Sparrow and make that transaction. And there we go. Within a couple of seconds, BTCPay server has detected the payment within the transactional queue, or also known as the mempool, and it confirms to the customer that the invoice has been paid. So let's head back to our admin page and view that transaction. Just going to click on Bitcoin from the left menu. And there you go. There you can see our incoming transaction for 26,794 sats. We can click on the transaction ID, which will open it in a block explorer. As you can see there, it's unconfirmed, currently sat waiting in the mempool. If I come across to the right hand side, I can add a label to the transaction should I want to, and I can also save a comment. You can also head down to invoices to view all of the invoices that are generated on your online storefront, whether they are paid or not. So as you can see here, in preparation for this video, I did generate a couple of invoices that I did not pay. The one that you just saw me pay there is currently processing, and as soon as that gets a confirmation on the Bitcoin network, that will change to paid. And if you click on details, you can see various details of this invoice. So the address it was generated, the USD price at the time the invoice was generated, how much was paid of the invoice, and how much is left over. As you can see, I paid the full amount of the invoice and there's nothing left due. We can see the transaction ID and how many confirmations there are. Currently there are none. So once we have one confirmation, we'll come back and look at how we can spend that Bitcoin from BTCPay server. Okay, so as you can see, that invoice has now changed to settled because the transaction now has at least one confirmation on the blockchain. And if we navigate back to our test store, we can see that our inventory has gone down by 1 and we now have 4 items left. And of course that process can be repeated as many times as you would like. You can leave that storefront up for years and BTCPay server will generate a fresh address every time a new customer generates an invoice on your online store without any direct interaction for you. And all of those subsequent invoices will be listed on this invoice page here. So now that we have some Bitcoin confirmed into our wallet, let's say we've built up a balance and we want to spend some of that Bitcoin maybe to restock our store or to just treat ourselves. So what we need to do is head over to our Bitcoin wallet from the left menu. And then we're going to choose send. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to send via the microSD card method and via the QR code PSBT method as well. First off, I'm going to choose the microSD card method. So let's get started with that. So the first step is to enter the address that we want to send to. Next up, we can enter the amount. So I can manually type that in. Or in this instance, I'm going to send the full amount, so I can just press that button there. And then I need to set the fee rate. So this is how fast I would like the transaction to be confirmed. Given that I'm sending this back to myself, I'm not in a rush. So I'm just going to leave that as confirming within a day. But you do have an option to estimate 6 hours, 1 hour, or 10 minutes. So the next step is to press sign transaction. Then I'm going to choose partially signed Bitcoin transaction. Then BTCPay is going to give us a breakdown of the transaction, so how much we're sending, the destination address, and how much the miner fees are going to cost us. So what we need to do now is pass this information over to Passport so that it can authorize the transaction for us. So if we click on Export PSBT for signing, and then I'm going to choose Download PSBT file. So that's downloaded that to my computer. At this stage, what you should do is insert the microSD card into your computer, which I've already done. So I'm just going to navigate to my downloads folder where that unsigned transaction has been downloaded to, and I'm going to copy it over to the microSD card. So there we have our unsigned transaction on the SD card. So I'm just going to eject that from my computer and pop it into Passport. So with the microSD card inserted into Passport, I'm just going to head down to sign with microSD. Then I'm going to choose that file that we've just added to the SD card. And Passport's then going to read the transaction details. And it's going to display them to us. So we have the amount being sent and the destination address. The change amount, if any. If you'll remember, there is no change in this instance because I'm sending the full amount back to myself. And then it's going to show us the network fee. Finally, Passport will ask if we would like to sign the transaction. And then Passport gives us some details, basically confirming that it's signed the transaction and that it has saved the signed transaction back to the microSD card, ready for us to pass it back across to our laptop, which I'm going to do now. So with the SD card inserted into our computer, I'm just going to come down to Provide Updated PSBT. And then I'm going to choose Browse. And then from my microSD card, the file that I'm looking for is PSBT export-signed.psbt. So I'm going to double click that. And then you choose Decode PSBT. So BTCPay now has the signed transaction and it's ready to broadcast that to the Bitcoin network. And that's it. We've just created our first spend transaction with Passport and BTCPay server. BTCPay shows us the transaction ID just there, and it's also as part of the list here. If I click on that, as a reminder, that will open it in a block explorer so that we can view the details of the transaction. So there we go. There's the transaction ID. The status is unconfirmed and it is waiting to be included into a block by the miners on the network. Okay, and finally, I'm just going to quickly take you through the QR code signing flow. So once again, I'm going to choose send. Then I can add the destination address, enter the amount that I want to send, or in this case, again, I'm going to send the full balance. So I'm just going to click the green number. Then I can adjust my fee rate. Again, that can be manually, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 6 hour, or 1 day confirmation. And then I can choose signed transaction. Once again, I'm going to choose partially signed Bitcoin transaction. We have our transaction details there waiting to be signed. So again, I'm going to come down to export PSBT for signing, but this time I'm going to choose show QR for wallet camera. Now BTCPay will default to the animated UR style, which is the one that we need for Passport. So on Passport, I'm just going to click sign with QR code, and then I'm going to hold it up to my laptop screen and scan the animated QR codes being displayed. And once again, Passport is going to show us the amount that is being sent in the transaction and the destination address. Then it's going to show us the change amount, if any, and then it's going to show us the network fee. Finally, it'll ask if we'd like to sign the transaction. And after that, Passport will show its own animated QR codes ready to be scanned by BTCPay server. So I'm going to click continue with signed PSBT. That's going to open my laptop's camera, and I'm just going to show the animated QR codes from Passport to the camera. BTCPay will confirm when it's successfully decoded the signed transaction from Passport. Then all you need to do is press submit. BTCPay will ask you one last time if you're ready to broadcast the transaction now that it is successfully signed and authorized by Passport. So again, I'm just going to choose broadcast transaction. And there we go. That has again been broadcasted out to the Bitcoin network.